Hello everyone. Welcome to my go-to shoe, Faith, Hope, and Love, a journey through loss, live on, strength, and soul. And of course, before we get started, like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification button so you know when Pauline's coming back. I have my nephew, De-Shawn Johnson, on tonight. I'm going to pivot a little bit and ask you this question. In your career, what would you say, let's pivot somewhat. Would you say has been a significant challenge for you that you had to overcome? A significant challenge that you had to overcome?
The biggest challenge I had to overcome in my career was probably speed and discipline. Probably the discipline to prioritize tasks at work. Like I said, at Ralph Lauren is a high level of execution and product development. So everything is like spot on, and it goes through a lot of channels before you get to see what's in the store. And the development process involve of what it takes to make the stuff that you see in the store. At least in America, I can't speak for all of the world, but at least in America, we don't really have of Valentino and like those French brands. We have something different. And our highest level of that is probably a Ralph Lauren. And inside that building, the product development is like key. This has to be a specific shade of red, and that red didn't come back the right way, or the curve on your pocket doesn't look like what we're trying to do. We need it to look like the vintage one, or the stuff you see. You might see the garment, the outside of the garment, but you don't see what's inside the garment, like the padding and the reinforcement and all of those different things. All of that stuff is just as crucial as the colors that you see on the jacket, or the rivets, or the snaps that's being used. What type of snap to use? Because we can't just throw any snaps. There's something called spring snaps. There's something called there's spring snaps, and there's another type of snap. Why I can't remember it right now for some reason. Socket snaps. And they function differently. There's different zippers. There's metal zippers, there's plastic zippers, there's Vislon zippers. How do you know which one to put on that particular garment? All of that is important when you're making a garment. So it ain't just, I'm going to draw this and then let the factory figure it out, because you are the designer. The factory is only going to do what you give them.
Give it. That's right.
They're not here to solve your problems. They're here to make whatever you give them.
So how do you feel you were able to overcome that when it came to the speed? Because it sounds like you're saying to me is that due to the high end and what they wanted done in a specific amount of time, you had to really work faster, smarter.
Yeah, you have to do all of those things. You have to be specific, and you have to do it at a speed that's not always conducive to what you want to do.
Conducive to who you are, right? Because it's interesting because sometimes because everyone works differently, right? Everybody has their pace, and what's fast for someone else may have one result, but what's fast for you may have another result, and it may be better than the person who's faster. I think that it's interesting because I do think everyone is different, and we move at our own speed. So sometimes you can't stay in that same realm because you'll never be at that speed because that's not who you are.
Yes.
So, and I think that's so. Saying that, I think what is good is when you recognize that that's the challenge, and you have to pivot.
Yes.
Even when you don't want to pivot. It's like, I love this. I love what I'm doing, but this is not really me. because people tend
Yeah.
to want us to be the way they want us to be, and all the while we're trying to be the best person for ourselves. And sometimes because
Yes.
of having to work every day, you sometimes will, you know, try to do it another way, and maybe it's not conducive to who we are. That bottom line.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. 100%.
So let me ask. So I'm going to ask you about your spiritual experiences. Um, how do you feel your spiritual experiences have provided you strength through your journey? Because I feel like you've been through a lot, and when I
Hmm.
say a lot, it might not be because everybody's journey is different, right? But every person goes through something, and in your
Hmm.
career, that's one aspect. But then in your personal life, it's another aspect, right? So, how would you say in
Hmm.
your journey of life, what's been your spiritual strength?
Probably my grandfather, my mother. Um, I consider myself more of a spiritual person. I
Mm-hmm.
connect with my mom, dad, my grandparents, and their lineage.
Mm.
So having, I would say, knowledge of self and knowing who I am is what I really, really connect to. Um, and I find strength coming from, like I said, my grandparents and my
Mm-hmm.
mom and dad and their perseverance to get things because they had their shortcomings. However, despite their shortcomings, they still gave me an abundance of love, like
Mm.
a lot of love. And I really appreciate we didn't have really no material items per
None.
se.
No
I didn't
materialism.
have all the stuff. Yeah, I didn't have none of the stuff that some of my friends had growing up. I never got all the G.I. Joes, all the Transformers, and all the toys that I always wanted. Where I would
Mm-hmm.
see some of my friends would have some of these things. But what my father and my mother gave me is abundance of experiences.
Mm.
And the experiences wasn't from traveling and stuff. It was from like going to your grandmother's house, hanging out with your cousins, going to the park for a picnic. They did what they can do with the resources that they have.
You know,
And
De-Shawn, I think
I thought that was very cool.
that's monumental. Actually, it's monumental because I sometimes think that parents think they have to do these grandiose things, and they can't, and they really can't. But there was a time when you did what you could with what you had, and everybody had a good
Hmm.
time. And that could be sitting out on the block, playing games and just talking to certain friends, or going to visit family and having hot dogs and burgers on the grill. I mean, I think that that's something that we're missing now, that I think mothers and fathers have to really do some things that are affordable for their lifestyle without
Hmm.
trying to go above and beyond. Because sometimes, we
Yes.
go above and beyond and we really can't do it. And it's expensive. So let's do what we can do. Like a walk in the park is not a bad thing to do. So for your kids to
Hmm.
learn. And it sounds like that's a huge lesson that Gail taught you, and your grandpa and your grandma and your uncles and your dad, which is powerful. I think
Hmm.
it's powerful.
I got another one for you is my mom didn't work during my life. She worked earlier in my life, but as time progressed, she kind of was just on welfare, or whatever. That sounds negative, but what she did give me was a lot of time. Like
Mm,
I seen her more than somebody whose parent might work the majority of the day, and they come home and they're tired. They can't spend time with their kid. My mom, I seen her all the time, so that played into who I would develop as a person and
mm,
how I still talk to her. Like I communicate with her and I look for signs when I walk through the street or I look at something that might happen and I'll be like, Mom, what you trying to tell me? Or a dream or sometimes I feel that it's coming from mommy. Sometimes I feel it's coming from daddy. I have seen my mom in a dream. I've seen my dad in a dream. Just 2 or 3 days before Father's Day, I saw my dad in a dream. I
mm,
don't see them often, but I do still see them in a dream.
Mm.
from time to time. Even my grandpa, I see him in a dream from time to time. Some people, like my mother's mother, I've only seen her in a dream once. But some people are reappearing in my dreams, like my
They
father
they kind of rotate.
and my grand. Yeah, and I see
Mm.
them like 2 or 3 times per year,
Mm.
but I do still see them, and I think that is a spiritual connection to where my love and my connection to them is bonded, and I hope that I can give that to my son the same way
So
where I visit him.
absolutely, so talking about fatherhood, talk to us about when you became a father. Let's talk, because this is, and I also, this is month of June. We've had Father's Day, and so now I do want to celebrate young men and older men as well. But as you, as a young dad,
Mhm.
what does fatherhood mean? What does that mean to you?
Legacy, like I said, passing
Mm-hmm.
something down to my boy, making sure he gets nurtured. Me and my mom, not my mom, me and my wife, we try to give him all the experiences he can have at this age, and we don't want to rob him of um, just having experiences, not thinking about stuff right now, just doing it. And as he gets older, he'll see the things, he'll reflect on those things when he gets older, and they will become like treasures in his box. I don't want him to pass off trauma. I see adults who blame everything on their parents, or sometimes they don't know they have issues from their childhood that they never
Right.
resolved.
Exactly.
That
That's true.
carries over into their life, and then they bring it into everybody who they communicate with. So they kind of have like this miserable life,
Mm.
but they can't put their finger on why their lives are like that. And
Mm-hmm.
some of that stuff has to do with their childhood and not being nurtured and not having the proper communication when they was children. I try not to do that with my son. I try to give him as much as experiences as possible. Wherever I can give, my wife gives. She gives an abundance of a lot of the front end work, and I do some stuff too. We both do stuff. I read with him every night. She gives him tremendous opportunities to do a lot of different things and experience a lot of different things. Um, he makes sure he travels a lot. His passport is stamped up. He goes to a different country every year. He's 5 years old now. And hopefully, when he gets older, that makes him more mature and think smarter. And the world is a smaller place, and he won't take the same risk as somebody who doesn't leave anywhere. He can have more of a thoughtful approach to what he does, and he'll have a holistic view of
Mm-hmm.
things and be more appreciative of things because he's seeing this over here and he's seeing this over here, and he can be inspired by different things. And he can hopefully teach other people and be a leader because of his childhood and growing up, that kind of thing.
Well, I'm listening to you, and I think it all sums up into one word, and that word
What's
is
that?
love. I think it's love, because
Yeah,
you received that from Gail, your mom. You received it from your grandpa, your dad, and your family, and the same love that was given to you. Your son you're giving to your son, so he's feeling it,
big
and
time.
he doesn't, he may not even realize. The main thing I think for fathers and sons is fathers have to be intentional. Be intentional, be there, be present. And I think people don't realize.
Hmm.
I just heard a sermon, in the sermon he was talking about. Look, kids don't care how many presents you give them; they care about you just being there, just being there with them. And so
Exactly.
they just want you in the
Exactly.
place, in the place. It's interesting. It was the sermon was really quite good. He says we want to do so much, but there's nothing like just being there for our kids. And he was really
Mm-hmm.
talking to men and women at that point. So he says, we just need to be there for them and let them know. And it was so funny because my daughter and I, we had a conversation just about the same thing the week before because Brad was like that. He was very intentional of making sure that he was
Right.
there and present. But I love the fact that um, you're enjoying fatherhood, and I can see your pictures, and I love that you have to send the picture of you sitting on the stairs. I think you both are sitting on the stairs. I don't know where you were, but that picture just, I don't know, that picture had like 1,000 words in it, and it's just you guys sitting there, just kind of enjoying each other's company. So you got to send
Yeah,
that
that
picture.
was actually at my Uncle Richard's house too.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah, because I
wow.
take Quest over there, and Quest likes going over there for some reason.
See,
He
no,
likes
no.
going
Quest
over
is,
there.
Quest is like his dad. His Quest is like his dad.
Yeah.
He wants to experience. He wants to experience the
Hmm.
brownstone because you already
Yes.
showed him some things. You're showing him different
Yeah.
different places every year. So now he wants to. Oh, let me check out the brownstone. That's different, right?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
he
He
may be
loves
he
it.
may be an artist. You never know. He may be some type of artist. It's in the
He
family.
tries. He definitely tries. He paints. I have him painting. He draws. I don't know if he's going to be good yet, but I think everybody knows how to draw it. They just got to bring it out of them. If somebody nurtures it, you can do it too. Because I don't think some people might paint Picasso's and be able to paint real looking stuff. But then there's other artists who are more abstract with it,
That's
like
true, right? And it looks good, and
so
they like it.
you go to a museum, it's all different. Some people know how to draw the way a photograph looks. And then that same artist who can draw something that looks like a photograph, he might not be able to do what Basquiat can do, or Jack Pollock, who just put splatter
Splatters.
on a canvas and
Well,
it's
she
art.
loved Pollock. She loved Pollock. I was kind of like, it does seem like just splatters, but I love art. But Brad, I love art. So no matter what it is, I love all art. So that's maybe why I just really do enjoy the whole fashion thing too, because I just
Hmm.
really do like that piece of it too.
Yeah,
But
it's all different.
it is.
It's like beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
It really is. It really, I always said that if I had my choice, I'd change my house decorations. If I had that kind of money, I'd change them every year because just to make my surroundings a little different, a little more unique
I
every
feel
time.
you. I definitely feel you. I
Right.
definitely feel that.
So I was going to ask you this question, but you've already answered it. I was going to ask you who are the inspirational figures in your life, and you mentioned your dad, your grandpa,
Hmm.
and who else? You said your uncle, of course.
My Uncle Richard. And we cannot forget one more person. Did you know mommy worked in a piece goods factory?
A piece goods factory.
Yeah, you know what piece goods is?
Well, piece goods are, isn't it just little like, well, explain to me because I'm not going to say it right. So explain to me
Okay.
what piece goods are.
So they making this pillow or something, and it goes through like an assembly line. One seamstress is going to do zip, 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 and then pass it over, and another person is going to stuff it with the foam that goes in the pillow. Another
Hmm.
person is going to
Oh,
attach the
okay.
zipper, or even like this shirt. One person, it has different operations to make the shirt that you have on.
So somebody put the
One
collar
machine is going to
on,
put the
and
collar on. So mommy, when she was carrying me, she worked at a piece goods factory. So she was sewing up clothes, I think in Long Island City,
oh wow,
which is now called Queensbridge or over in that area. And she also crocheted. My mom taught me how to crochet, and she worked in the piece goods factory, and she knew how to sew.
he did know
So,
how to sew because I tell you, we went shopping one day, and she was instead of just looking at the clothes, she was looking at how they were made. She says, "This is not right." She would be look at the fabric inside and showing where it's not made properly. So
hmm
she did
so
know.
I think she gives me my quality control and
Mm.
my discipline to make sure that the right thing is done. Where my uncles and my father gives me the aesthetic. So If my uncles and fathers kind of drew the house, mommy is the one who makes sure that the sockets are the right sockets. Um, the electrician is wired. The plumbing is the things that you don't see behind the walls is what mommy is. The
Mm.
walls is probably my uncle. The outside of the house is probably grandpa, something like that. Everybody has a influence in the house. That's my mind. I would say.
Wow. So that's interesting. So that they all had an influence to build your
Hmm.
house really around you. Each one had their own
Hmm.
place of what they were doing for you. And
Yes.
wow,
Yes.
that's an interesting way to look at it. I didn't think about when you think about the building and the interior and the insides, and your mom was always working for you for that. She wanted to make sure that her kids were fulfilled in a love capacity, really
Yes.
fulfilled, so that
Right.
they could be real adults
Definitely.
and be able to live this life because she knew
Hmm.
what it took. She knew what it took. So
Hmm.
we just thank God for that. So and let me see. Oh, so and you've already said this legacy, uh, but if there's one word that you'd like your son to remember and to, or what, just one word that you think of for yourself and who you are, what would that one word be if you were to describe De-Shawn?
Mm. That's hard. I wish I could say focus, but I'm not focused.
You and me both.
um,
Yeah,
uh,
sorry.
maybe perfectly complex. It's two
Oh,
words,
no, two.
but
That's okay.
I say perfectly complex. For one, I don't think there's a such thing as perfect unless you're going to have shortcomings with it. What I mean by that is, if everything is perfect, nobody exists. You need a little pinch of like challenge to keep evolving and keep moving. Otherwise, if things are perfect, we just going to stand still. You don't have an appetite if you're perfect. You don't need to see anything because you already know everything. You don't need any more knowledge because again, you know everything. You don't get old and you don't get young. You just stuck in a state of like just quote unquote perfection. We just going to see all white or all black. Nothing changes. But when you have um, complex perfection, then you get the whole rainbow, and you get
Mm.
to see different potentials and different aspects of yourself or of the one. So we know that all the colors of the rainbow come out of one color, like either white or black. You can get all the colors out of both of those, either one of those two colors, the polarity in it. And whatever happens in between that is the perfection.
Mm.
One side, one side. And that's what perfection is all of it. It can't be just stagnant and it just stays still and just be perfect. And otherwise we'll cease to exist and we'll never get to experience what we experienced. So even when you're very sad to when you're very happy, the idea of going through those spectrums is like is beautiful. That's perfect. We need to
Mm.
be able to feel the up and the down. Like that's what we're here for, to experience those things.
Well, I love
That's
that.
why I like it.
I love that because
I like
perfectly
that.
complex, because we are not
Mm.
perfect individuals. We are
No.
complex beings. And for you to
Yes.
recognize that, that's a beautiful thing because sometimes we're so busy trying to do everything in a perfect way and well, it's not working out because it's not supposed to. Because
It's not.
we're human, we're humanity and we're learning the whole entire time. The whole entire time.
Yep. 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 Your whole
Yeah.
existence is predicated on learning from the time you get here and to the time you leave.
I used to
We've
say,
had
and now I'm that old lady. I used to say, I didn't want to be that little old lady on the third pew of the church that never learned anything. I don't want to be her. I don't
you
want to be
don't.
her.
You
I
don't.
said, I got to be somebody
You
who
don't.
continues to learn for the whole time. And I have to laugh
Yes.
because sometimes, some things are difficult to learn. They're not always that easy. But you still have to just remain. very focused. Like you said, focus is not but you do sometimes have to
Mhm.
make yourself focus so that you can learn some things.
Who are you telling? Who are you telling? I'm still
I don't
trying to
want. I
learn
don't want to
some.
say that you got some of these habits that are not so great from my side of the family. It might have
It's
went
from
deep.
both. It's from both. It's from both. I love it all. I love all of it, though.
I know.
I wouldn't change anything.
See, and I think that's the beauty that we don't want to change
Hmm.
anything. We're just trying to be the best we can be. And I think you're to be commended for the dad that you are, for the time that you put into your family, to Yemisi, your wife. I just love you, the three of you as a family, because you do
Hmm.
things that show that you have to do things together as a family. Because a family,
Yes.
when you talk and you communicate with one another. I didn't know if maybe I should have asked you this question in reference to how does it feel to be the head of the household and be the man of the family? Is that a daunting task at times?
Sometimes I'm lying. A lot of times, yeah. But
Yeah,
I get through it. Is with great challenge comes big rewards. How'd that go? I can't remember exactly how it go. But the bigger the challenge, the bigger the gratitude you get out of the reward. It almost feels like. So
I know.
if it was easy, if it was easy, it'd be like not really worth doing. But
Mhm.
when you have the challenge and then you overcome it, you look back and you be like, look at that. Look what we did. I'm so happy at what we did. Remember
Mhm.
when we almost didn't make it kind of thing, but we persevered. What does that say about us? We have resilience. And it makes you it toughens your skin. Kind of
It does.
like
Does.
now you building something that's unpenetrable
Mm.
because you made that kind of sacrifice 2 years ago or a year ago or a week ago or maybe an hour ago. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So it's always good because you building something, and when you go through something like that, you don't want to jeopardize. Like, yo, I don't want to. I'm not going to make this mistake and risk ruining everything I kind of built
Exactly.
for this
It
or
goes
like.
back to your analogy about the house and the inside, and
Hmm.
how your dad participated, how your mom participated, and then you can see your uncle on the outside with the outside exterior. It's the same thing as
Hmm.
you build your family together, and as you grow in that family, and things that happen maybe not be as perfect as you'd like, but yet you can see the lessons along the way. And you mentioned the word
Hmm.
through, and I love the word through because it's operative. It's getting us through this journey of life because it continues to move
Hmm.
forward. We're never stagnant. We're never standing still. When you find yourself standing still,
Never.
then it's time to pause and say, okay, Lord, what is it I got to do? Because something's not quite right here. And having those
Yeah.
conversations with yourself is a good thing because it gives us time for thought. And sometimes we do have to kind of
Hmm.
sit back and take some thought and things, right? So
Absolutely.
definitely thank you so much again for being on my go-to shoe, Faith, Hope, and Love, a journey through loss. Live on, strength, and soul, because you are that individual young man who's taking care of his family, who's working every day, who's trying to get all the things done, trying to get them all done,
Hmm.
and raise a wonderful son and have him be the son he is going to be. Not trying to make him into
Yeah.
anything that you want him to be. He's going to be the son that
Yes.
that he would want to be. So
That
we
he wants to
thank God
be.
for that. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. And before I end, of course, I always do this. I want to thank De-Shawn for being here with us on tonight. Thank him for what he's shown us via his lifestyle and what he's done in his journey of fashion, as well as how he's done with his life and his family. It's much appreciated. So we thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much during this Father's Day month, and I call it Men's Month because I really want to honor the fathers this month, and so I'm honoring you because you're a young dad. You're just a young dad, and so
Hmm.
I just appreciate you and all the things that I see you doing with your son. It's not going unnoticed. Thank you once again, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Touch the notification button so you know when Pauline's coming back. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate y'all. See you soon. Bye bye.